White nationalist is someone who believes that the white race is superior to other races.
Well, that's some people's opinion.
I just called them red-blooded Americans. Yeehaw, brother.
Do you believe they should allow white nationalists in the military?
Well, they call them that. I call them American.
Well, they call them that. I just call them American.
You just listened to Alabama Senator Tommy Tuberville defend white nationalists in the U.S. military, which is a serious problem for those unaware.
Wait, I want to watch the full video. Tommy Tuberville, all right, my guy. What have you done today? Let's see.
But just to be clear, you agree that white nationalists should not be serving in the U.S. military. Is that what you're saying?
If people think that a white nationalist is a racist, I agree with that. I agree they should.
A white nationalist is someone who believes that the white race is superior to other races.
Well, that's some people's opinion.
What is up with these Republicans gaslighting us? Why are you gaslighting me into believing that that's my opinion, that they're a white nationalist and they're racist? Like, yeah, white nationalism is racism, my guy. Why are you gaslighting me into thinking otherwise?
And I don't think,
That's
I mean,
not
a
an
lot.
opinion.
Pardon?
What's your opinion?
My opinion of a white nationalist, if somebody wants to call them white nationalists, to me is an American. It's an American. Now,
Oof. That is one hot take, Tommy Tuberville. That is one hot take to have, I guess.
if that white nationalist is a racist, I'm totally against anything that they want to do, because I am 110% against racism. But I want somebody that's in our military, that's strong, that believes in this country, that's an American, that will fight along anybody, whether it's a man or woman, black or white, red, it doesn't make any difference. And so I'm totally against identity politics. I think it's ruining this country, and I think that Democrats ought to be ashamed for how they're doing this.
Is he confused?
Bro, just say you're a Nazi at this point and that you have the lost body of Hitler stored in your basement.
I'm so confused. No, but is he confused? Like, is he genuinely confused as to what a white nationalist sounds like, means? What's going on here? Like, are you confused? Do you just not know? I don't know.
Because it's dividing this country and it's making this country weaker every day.
It's making this country weaker every day.
People say, well, they're soft on crime. No, they're not soft on crime. They're pro-crime. They want crime. They want crime because they want to take over what you got. They want to control what you have.
Who is he talking about? U.S. Sitting Senator Tommy Tuberville. Also, I literally hate this name. I hate this name. Who came up with this name, Tommy Tuberville? He was because he said white nationalists are racist after the interview? Oh, okay. Maybe he is confused. Sitting U.S. Senator Tommy Tuberville says black people are pro-crime because he says they want reparations because they think people who do crime own that. Oh, wow. That is wildly racist.
Some people say, well, they're soft on crime. No, they're not soft on crime. They're pro-crime. They want crime.
Who is this woman nodding her head that hard?
They want crime because they want to take over what you got. They want to control what you have. They want reparation because they think the people that do the crime are owed that. Bullshit. They are not owed that.
Bro, I feel like it's giving sundown town energy. It's giving sundown town energy, my friends. I don't know what else to say. Tommy Tuberville is a man of astoundingly low character. He is risking the national security of the United States, and he's doing it for the reasons of racial animus. Yeah, sure. I guess that is pretty sure, though, honestly. Tommy Tuberville triples down on support of white supremacist nationalists, says he's against the Democrats' definition of white nationalists, he's against racism, then confirms white nationalists are indeed racist. Maybe it's the old age. Maybe he's just confused. Like, maybe he's just old and he's just starting to get confused because he keeps contradicting himself.
You explain why you continue to insist that white nationalists are American.
Listen, I'm totally against racism. And if the Democrats want to say that white nationalists are racist, I'm totally against that too.
But that's not a Democratic definition. The definition of a white nationalist is someone...
My definition.
It is the definition.
Bad.
The definition is that the belief that the white race is superior to all other races.
Totally out of the question.
So do you believe that white nationalists are racist?
Yes, if that's what a racist is, yes. Thank you.
But that is the definition.
So, does he or does he not? I'm confused. I'm so confused.
For the first time in over 100 years, we do not have a commandant of the Marine Corps. Someone who can have the full power and authority of a commandant. This is absolutely unacceptable. We have all of these officers and their families. My colleagues talk about and laud the family members for their service. We have family members who are being pulled out of schools, unable to start a new school term. We have spouses who cannot start a new job, who've lost their jobs. The entire military readiness is slowly grinding to a halt, and it is going to get worse every single day because Senator Tuberville has injected politics into this. And you know who gets hurt?
Damn, I've been calling him Tuberville this whole time. His last name is Tuberville, and I've been calling him Tuberville. Oh, no.
Hurt the most on this? Our lowest ranking. It is the youngest women in the military. It is the spouses of the youngest men in the military who have to ask for a pass from their sergeants to leave their duty station so that they can go take care of their health care needs. And what we are telling them, what Senator Tuberville is telling them is, I don't care about you. Thank you for your service, but you cannot take care of your own health care or your spouse's health care. And to simply put this as this is a political thing and this is...
I don't know what she's talking about. His name is Tommy Tupperware. Okay, I guess from now on we're just going to call him Tommy Tupperware. Oh, Mitch McConnell responded.
Concern that you have a member of your conference, Senator Tuberville, seems to have a hard time denouncing white nationalism, especially as it pertains to white nationalism in the military.
Yeah, white supremacy is simply unacceptable in the military and in our whole country.
I guess he... See, listen, y'all can call him Turtle all you want in the chat. At least he's smart enough to know to not say things that Tommy Tupperware is saying. For 5 months now, America's dumbest senator. Ooh, that's a hard statement, because my personal opinion is that Mark Wade McMullen is America's dumbest senator. In my personal opinion. I will say Tommy Tuberville is right up in the alley, though, like number 2 for sure. Tommy Tuberville of Alabama has put a blanket hold on all military promotions. That's over 250 officers at this point. It's totally unprecedented and poses a real risk to the national security. Wait, why did he put a hold on it? Tuberville spits the face of our military and state Republicans allow him. Why did he do that? That doesn't make any sense. Caitlin Collins is on a mission to take down Tommy Tuberville. Day 2, she's enlisting Alyssa Slotkin, who is happy to oblige. Slotkin, I think we're a nation of rules and law, and Tuberville doesn't get to decide what is law. Oh, I think they were talking... Okay. So the last lady was talking about blocking hundreds of military nominations. Okay, got it. So he's the one blocking the military nominations. I'm wondering why, though. Tommy Tuberville could have enlisted in the military during Vietnam. He could have enlisted in the military during the Persian Gulf. He didn't either. Damn, I guess homie is just under a lot of flack right now. Also, why is this reporter always in the most hottest takes? Like, why do they always put her to interview these crazy people? Honestly.
Aware, and it's a problem that has been officially acknowledged by the Biden administration, the Department of Defense, and even military personnel themselves. According to a Military Times poll, 1/3 of active duty members saw signs of racism and or white supremacy in their ranks. So as a U.S. Senator, if your response to that problem is, well, you call them white nationalists, I just call them Americans, I think that it's reasonable for people to...
I just called them red-blooded Americans. Yeehaw, brother. I want a military of white nationalists, because then I know they're fighting for the freedom of this country. Freedom for us to eat hot dogs and candy corns, brother. Hallelujah. Amen.
Interpret that as a defense of white nationalists in the U.S. military, as a defense of white nationalists in general. But in response to that, I guess we'll call it yikes comments, he was asked to clarify his comments, and you could say that we definitely have more clarity now after listening to him speak more, but it's not because he changed what he said. He said the same exact thing, but let's listen.
Do you want to explain those comments, Senator?
Yeah, first of all, I'm totally against any type of racism, okay? I was a
Strong start here.
football coach for 40 years, and I dealt and had opportunity to be around more minorities than anybody up here on this hill.
Oh no. Oh no. All right. He was a goddamn football coach.
But when our military was being attacked after 9/11, after January the 6th, and that was my first day on the Senate floor,
Is he okay? How do you mix up 9/11 and January 6th? Oh my god.
I thought it was outrageous of what senators from the Democratic side, Chuck Schumer said on the floor that night, calling people racist, calling people nationalists, white nationalists. White nationalists is just another word that they want to use other than racism. I'm totally against anything to do with racism. But the thing about being a white nationalist is just a cover word for the Democrats now, where they can use it to try to make people mad across the country, identity politics. I'm totally against that. But I'm for the American people, I'm for military, I'm for Christian conservatives, Democrats, whoever wants to be in the military to fight for this country, to protect this country. That's what it's all about.
But just to be clear,
I honestly think it's a mixture of the old age and the racism, if I'm being completely honest.
Wait. I am confused. How was he on the Senate floor after 9/11? He was at a football game as the head coach for Auburn at that time?
No, it was a Freudian slip.
you agree that white nationalists should not be serving in the U.S. military. Is that what you're saying?
If people think that a white nationalist is a racist, I agree with that. I agree they should.
A white nationalist is someone who believes that the white race is superior to other races.
Well, that's some people's opinion. And I don't think,
That's
I mean,
not an opinion.
Pardon?
What's your opinion?
My opinion of a white nationalist, if somebody wants to call him white nationalist, to me is an American. It's an American. Now, if that white nationalist is
Hell yeah, brother.
a racist, I'm totally against anything that they want to do, because I am 110% against racism. But I want somebody that's in our military, that's strong, that believes in this country, that's an American, that will fight along anybody.
Look at her face. She's like, BFFR.
Whether it's a man or woman, black or white, red, it doesn't make any difference. And so I'm totally against identity politics. I think it's ruining this country, and I think that Democrats ought to be ashamed for how they're doing this, because it's dividing this country and it's making this country.
Imagine calling somebody a white nationalist is identity politics. White nationalism is a belief system. You believe that the white race is superior, and you believe that you're being replaced. That's not identity politics. That's your belief. That is what you happen to believe. And it happens to be rooted in Nazism and racism. So maybe he's confused about what identity politics actually means. I don't know what's going on here. But it's a belief system. If you're a white nationalist, you adhere to the belief that white people are superior. It's not that complicated. It's not rocket science.
Weaker every day.
Now, there's more, but let's just stop there because we need to parse this out a little bit because he's saying a lot. So what he's saying is, if a white nationalist, whose default position, by the way, is that the white race is superior to all other races, happens to be racist, then that's bad. But so long as the white nationalist is not racist, then that's okay. I mean, what's next? Are libs going to say that everyone in the KKK is racist too? Is everyone not safe from this identity politics? I can't even say it with a straight face because what he's saying here is so absurd on its face that there's no...
In my opinion, the idea of white people as a social construct. So yeah, the idea of race is a social construct, right? White people, black people, brown people. Race is a social construct. That's not an opinion, that's a fact. Now, if you believe that your race is superior because you have white skin and blue eyes, that's a very fascist opinion rooted from social construct of race, I guess. I guess you can explain it that way.
No way that you can be any more charitable than just deducing that he's racist. period. Now, I'm also, I'm very relieved to know that he's personally not racist, with the evidence being that he was around minorities as a football coach. Well, that's definitive.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. I'm not going to lie to you. That was pretty bad. It's like he pulled the whole I have black friends card, right? Like you can't just pull the I have black friends race card, you know what I mean? Like you can't pull the I've worked with minorities card. You can work with minorities and still be a raging racist and still have your job and get away with it. That has happened. Still happens every single day. So I'm not sure what the point was there either.
There's nothing else that you can say about it after that. That to me confirms beyond a shadow of a doubt that he's not racist, because as we all know, by definition, when you're within the proximity of non-white people, racism is literally dispelled from your body at a rate of 1% per hour. But you see, the main problem is that he is against identity politics. So that's really what this is all about. The problem is that white nationalism is identity politics. It's just white identity politics. So the question is, should the military allow for that type of white identity politics, knowing that it could cause internal turmoil?
By theory though, wouldn't the American military profit from white nationalists in their military? I mean, if you have people who are racist and gung-ho for America and believe they're the superior race, and then you deploy them in a place like Syria or Afghanistan, what do you think is going to happen? That's kind of why the American military also breeds these white nationalists too, because a lot of the things they do kind of like advocates for this idea that America is superior and you as an American are superior, which is not true at all, to be completely honest.
Well, he's not going to be very clear about that, but amid the wishy-washiness and evasive...
Yeah, I mean, the military does have a lot of history with homophobia, being racist, misogynist, a lot of different things.
answers. What he's saying does come into focus, and I'll tell you what I mean by that. One more short clip from this interview.
But that's not identity politics. You said a white nationalist is an American.
It is identity politics.
You said a white nationalist is an American, but a white nationalist is someone who believes horrific things. Do you really think that's someone who should be serving in the military?
Well, that's just a name that has been given. I mean,
it's not. It's a real definition. There's real concerns about extremism.
So if you're going to do away with most white people in this country out of the military, we got huge problems.
It's not. Huge problems. It's not people who are white. It's white nationalists
that have a few probably different beliefs.
Right?
That have different beliefs. Now, if racism is one of those beliefs, I'm totally against it. I am totally against racism.
That's what we're trying to tell you.
People that believe in different things.
Is racist, Senator.
Well, that's your opinion. That's your opinion. But if it's racism, I'm totally against it. I am totally against any type of race, or any type of racism. I don't care what it's in.
So he concedes that maybe white nationalists have a few different beliefs, but he won't say what those beliefs are specifically and whether or not he agrees with them. And I think that that's on purpose. So what is he actually trying to say, right, Claire? But he doesn't want to just come out and say it, right? So it seems like what he's trying to say is, no. Racism means that you just hate minorities. But being a white nationalist means that you have a love of and preference for white people and think that they should have their own ethno-state, but you can have that belief simultaneously while not hating minorities. I mean, is that what he's trying to say?
Yeah,
because if that is indeed the case, to think that non-white people should be excluded from government, from your ethno-state, that is inherently hateful, but it's hard to get into the mind of this hateful bigot. And what he's saying sounds contradictory and like we're splitting hairs because, I mean, we are. Internally, I'm sure that he's probably much more clear, right? But this sort of muddying of the waters is an effort by racists like him to normalize white nationalism. And
Ari is gonna leave the left and join her haters, the Iranian monarchists.
Oh my God. I would literally rather eat a whole entire tub of candy corn than become an Iranian monarchist. Please. I am good. Also, do you guys hear this whole entire commotion going on in the background? You got a car, like, going off, the alarm going off, and then you got a bunch of, like, ambulances and fire trucks in the back.
White supremacy. And the thing is that by him not being clear, he's giving us a clear answer, right? You just have to kind of read between the lines. If he wanted to be more clear, he would have done that by now, but he's not being more clear. He was asked the same question.
What is wrong with candy corn? What is not wrong with candy corn? Candy corn is disgusting. Candy corn is literally the epitome of America, okay? Disgusting, waxy, sugary, unhealthy. Y'all really eat like healthcare is free in this country, honestly.
Question again, and his answer did not change. So we're going to watch that along with some commentary from CNN. And I think that their commentary here is important because I think that it's necessary for commentators to make deductions because the audience might not necessarily connect, from point A to B, but just make that leap for them because it's pretty obvious. We have more than enough evidence.
Explain why you continue to insist that white nationalists are American.
Listen, I'm totally against racism. And if the Democrats want to say that white nationalists are racist, I'm totally against that too.
But that's not a democratic definition. The definition of a white nationalist
Well,
is
that's your definition. My definition is racism bad. Next question.
The definition is that the belief that the white race is superior to all other races.
Totally out of the question.
So do you believe that white nationalists are racist?
Yes, if that's what a racist is, yes. Thank you.
But that is the definition.
And he just continues to double down. And the fallout on Capitol Hill from Republicans is now that many Republicans are being asked by reporters, are white nationalists racist? And I talked to several Republicans, including Rick Scott of Florida, who said absolutely, that is the definition of a white nationalist, that they believe that the white race is superior to other races. You also heard from John Thune, who I spoke to just moments ago.
Right, Remy Rose is the sky blue? Like, what kind of a question is that? Of course a white nationalist is a racist.
He is the Republican whip, and he was pressed by reporters whether or not he was going to talk directly to Tuberville about his comments. He said he had no idea what Tuberville was actually trying to say. He said, just to be clear, though, there is no room for white nationalists in the Republican Party. I pressed him on whether or not there was room for white nationalists in the military. He said, no, not there either, making it clear that he wants to put this to bed. He does not want this to become a broader question of whether or not Republicans are sticking with white nationalists. Sarah?
Yeah, hard to put it to bed when you keep getting those same answers from Tuberville. Thank you so much, Lauren Fox, for that update. Appreciate it.
Why do you think it is so hard for Senator Tuberville to be clear about that?
Why is CNN always in the middle of these racist scandals? I don't get it. How do they always find themselves in the middle of conversations like this? It's like, do you deliberately try to be problematic? I don't know.
So it's interesting and good to see you, but here's what's happening. So if you listen to the full interview, for somebody that claims to be very clear spoken, and I'm just going to tell you how I feel, he is twisting his words around to please everybody.
So we see a lot of speculation from pundits about why he won't just be clear here, why there is so much obfuscation and evasiveness with everything that he says, and they seem almost shocked that he's doubling and tripling down despite the backlash and condemnation even from fellow Republicans. And I think that all of this confusion is because they don't want to accept the answer that he's giving them. He's doubling down because this is what he believes. He's racist, period, point blank. And I get that they don't want to come out and say.
Yeah, listen, if your definition of why you're not racist is, hey, listen, I used to be a football coach and I coached a lot of minorities, you're racist. I hate to say it. It is what it is. You know what I mean? It's the route you chose for yourself. Just admit it and move on at this point.
That because he's going to accuse them of engaging in identity politics. But I mean, sometimes you've just got to call a spade. And he's given you more than enough insight into his twisted worldview to logically deduce that he is indeed racist. And it's not the first time, to be clear, that he's made racist comments. And when you take into account the totality of his belief system that we know of, then I think the conclusion is pretty clear. And to his credit, Jake Tapper comes to this point.
Senator Tuberville's attempt to distance himself from seeming to be standing up for the rights of white supremacists might be easier to believe if last fall Senator Tuberville had not made one of the most blatantly racist statements we've heard from a U.S. senator in perhaps decades.
Wait, what did
He
he say?
falsely suggested that Democrats like crime, and he smeared black people as criminals.
Oh, yeah.
Take a listen.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Some people say, well, they're soft on crime. No, they're not soft on crime. They're pro-crime. They want crime. They want crime because they want to take over what you got. They want to control what you have. They want reparation because they think the people that do the crime are owed that. Bullshit. They are not owed that.
Senator Tuberville there saying that Democrats like crime and they want reparations, which is the term for payments made to individuals who are descendants of slaves, because they think that people that do the crime are owed that. That's just racism.
It's just racism, exactly. And the reason why Republicans, including Mitch McConnell, are denouncing his comments is because overt racism is still not acceptable even by the Republican establishment.
I mean, like, listen, the Republican Party is going down a rabbit hole of just fascism and racism. And you guys never see me doing this, right? Like, I'm never like, oh, look at how stupid Marjorie Taylor Greene is. Oh my God, she's so racist. Oh my God, Republicans are so racist. MAGA Republicans. Like, you know, I think a lot of liberals fall into that trap of just like, you know, Republicans are so stupid and racist. Like, I just don't, just take a pause, take a step back. You know, yes, the Republican Party is going down this racist, fascist path for sure. I'm not one to deny that. But at the end of the day, the run-of-the-mill Republicans like Mitch McConnell, the older, more traditional Republicans will never publicly admit their racism, right? They will never publicly say something that's racist on purpose, right? Like, they might say something that's racist or racially, like, you know, insensitive by accident, you know what I mean? But they won't publicly be like overtly racist, right? Like somebody like Ron DeSantis or somebody like Trump, they're kind of the new wave of Republicans in America. But your run-of-the-mill Mitch McConnell types, like they're not going to say racist things overtly and openly because they're run-of-the-mill traditional Republicans. They didn't make a platform based off of that. When you look at people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, she made her whole entire platform based off of being a very loud fascist. That's what her whole entire platform is. And the reason why her spot is so safe is because that is what she built her platform on. But it's a double-edged sword, right? Because for the rest of her life, in order for her to keep her spot, she needs to be this ultra racist nationalist because that's what she got voted in for. It's kind of like content creation too. Like when you start content creation and you fall into this like liberal pro-Democrat, you know, bottomless pit of just reactionary content, that kind of becomes your platform. That becomes your identity. Unless you are able to pull yourself out of that and start producing more valuable content, you know? Also, the Democrats and liberals like to pretend that they don't have racial... Oh, yeah, 100%. The thing about Democrats is that they're much more inverted about their racism. The thing about Republicans is, like, you get what you see, right? If a Republican is racist, they're more than likely publicly racist, right? If a Republican is, you know, anti-immigration, they'll be pretty vocal about that, right? Or if they're, whatever, if they think fentanyl is coming into the country because of immigrants, they'll say that out loud, right? You never have to necessarily guess with a Republican, but when it comes to Democrats, you never know. Because they'll say, oh, we care about X, Y, and Z, but then in practice, they'll do something totally different. Right? So the only reason why I have a little bit of credit for Republicans is that what you see with Republicans is what you get. If they say they will go after Roe v. Wade, they will go after it until they're able to overturn it. If they say they are against immigration, they will do everything in their power to keep immigrants out of this country. Do I believe in their advocacy and like what they believe in? No, I don't. I think it's abhorrent. But at the end of the day, they stand by what they say, right? Democrats for decades used Roe v. Wade as a ploy to get elected, as a ploy to get, you know, more campaign money, more donation money towards getting reelected. But when it was time to codify Roe v. Wade, when it was time to actually do something to protect women's health care, they were not able to show up. They wanted to, but they weren't able to because we have a supermajority, Republican majority in the Supreme Court. They overturned it. We knew it was going to happen. It was just a matter of time. And it happened, right? And that's what happens when you have a liberal like RBG, bless her soul, but she was also a raging liberal racist who did not step down when she absolutely needed to, wanted to stay until the first woman president was elected so that then she could retire under a woman president, which is honestly the most neoliberal horseshit I've ever heard of. And then when Hillary lost, which we all knew was going to happen regardless, she died during Trump's reign. And now we're where we are at, in the first place. So say what you want about Republicans, but the thing about conservatives, the thing about Republicans, they are who they say they are. They do what they say they will do. And it is what it is. I don't agree with the shit they do, but do they actually get shit done based off of what they say? Yes, they do. That's kind of why we're fucked right now. You know what I mean?
Even if they're racist themselves or are okay with racists, even if a large portion of the base is thirsty for racism. The reason why you have to still use dog whistles and doublespeak when you...
Girl Bear has a great point. If we codified Roe v. Wade, then they would have lost that as a fear tactic and funding tool. Absolutely, 100%. The fear of losing Roe v. Wade was a funding tool for decades. And then when it came down to it, it got overturned. There's many different reasons on why it got overturned. My biggest gripe is RBG because I feel like she could have left when she needed to, but she didn't. And now we're here.
You are engaging in white identity politics is to maintain this facade of respectability in order to attract donations from large multinational corporations. They don't want any controversy for donating to white nationalist politicians, so it is incredibly strategic and savvy for Republicans to try to hide the ball a little bit. But when it comes to Tommy Tuberville, he's just saying the quiet part loud, and that's not acceptable. That's not lucrative, if we put it in capitalistic terms. So I think that we're not uncharitable to call Tuberville a racist. In fact, if anything, I think that people saying he's not racist would offend him because we all heard him. His feelings are pretty clear, right? Now, I would be remiss to not point out the other reason why he's been grabbing headlines lately. It's not just because of this comment. It's because of his opposition to abortion and specifically what he's doing to cut off access to more people. HuffPost explains, Senator Tommy Tuberville's unprecedented hold on military promotions has left the Marine Corps without a confirmed leader for the first time in 164 years, drawing outrage from Democrats who say his actions are undermining national security. Marine Corps Commandant General David Berger officially retired on Monday, leaving Assistant Commandant General Eric Smith as the acting commandant and leader of the military branch until he is confirmed in the Senate. Democrats tried to confirm Smith via a unanimous consent request on Monday, but Tuberville blocked the move in protest of a new Pentagon policy that provides paid leave and reimbursement costs for travel for service members who cross state lines to get an abortion.
Wow. So he's putting a pause on all new appointees because he's mad about abortion. It is what it is. This is what happens when Republicans eat each other alive.
The policy was enacted after the Supreme Court struck down federal abortion rights and overturned Roe v. Wade. The Alabama Republicans' hold pertains to over 250 of the Pentagon's general and flag officers. In order to approve each promotion, Democrats would need to schedule several votes on the Senate floor, eating up valuable floor time. It would likely take months to process them all, time the Senate simply does not have if it wants to pass appropriation bills and avert a government shutdown this year. So there you have it. If you've been wondering why he's talking about the military so much lately or has been asked so many questions about it, that's basically the backstory, and you really don't need to know more than that. But the main conclusion that I want to leave you with is that when people tell you who they are, believe them, especially if they tell you a second time and then a third time and then a fourth time. There's no point in speculating about whether or not they're confused or just unable to articulate themselves properly. Tuberville is a grown man. He is a politician. Right? He knows how to speak. You can't chalk this up to stupidity or ignorance. He made it very clear where he stands, and that's with white nationalists. And he's not the only Republican senator, to be clear, who's a white nationalist. But the difference between him and them is that he's willing to admit it. So
The thing is, a spade is a spade. A spade is a goddamn spade, chat. I mean, he is showing you that he is a spade, and therefore he's a spade. Believe a spade when they say they're a spade, honestly. Servicewomen will soon be able to have their travel expenses paid and receive up to 3 weeks of leave to obtain an abortion out of state or receive fertility treatments. They also will have up to 20 weeks to notify their commands that they are pregnant, according to 3 new Defense Department policies. Yeah, I mean, if he wants to stall everything because he's mad at that, let him. So be it. Go for it, my guy. I love the fact that you are eating your own. We love to see it.
when people tell you that they are a certain way, listen to them, because I don't think he could be any more clear, despite the very convoluted language that he's using to describe his position.
Let them fight, chat. Let them fight. Thank you for watching our segment about Tommy Tuberville. We will keep tabs on him to see what racist thing he does next, since he's definitely a racist.